Welcome everyone as we go a little bit ahead now to Daf Mem, and let's welcome in Dr. Yudel and Irving Fishbaum, Dr. Guy, Ruvain Shanit, Shalom Fogel, Michal, Yaakov Warman, Saba, Yisrael Fisher, Mel Zachter, Marshall Castle, Barry Cement, Baruch Ian, Ruvain Pollack, Shelley Zeitlin, Eddie Chazan, Yitzi Fuchs, Itchy, Michal Abram Chavin, Nachman Chapler, Rabbi Kranz, Gedalia Engel, Shimon Klein, Moshe Lehman, Stephen Holtzman, Gabriel Epstein, Eliyahu Yafi, Avram Rezepkowitz, Danny Vogel, Yitzi Muller, Ilya Schutman, Daniel Rosenberg, David Helfkat, so Tanu Rabbanan, top of Mem Amud Aleph, Tanu Rabbanan, Saden B'tzitzis, that means a linen garment. Beis Shammai doesn't darshan smuchen. And since he doesn't darshan smuchen, he holds that you wouldn't be able to put tchelis on linen, because he doesn't darshan lo yisil b'shatnes gedilim tasa lecha, and therefore he holds that if it's shatnes, it's potter even from white. Beis Hillel mechayven. Beis Hillel says it is chayven. Tzitzis v'alach k'divrei Beis Hillel. Amar Rabbi Eliezer ben Reb Tzadok, whoever puts tchelis, the wool, in Yerushalayim, is only draws astonishment. Says the Gemara, well, that's for a different reason. Really, the halacha is you can. Amar Rebbe Yimkein Lama Asrua, Lefi She'ein Bekiyin. Because we're afraid that somebody will see you using wool tzitzis on linen and come to draw a conclusion that you could use shatnez in other places. So Amalei Rava Barav Chanel Rava Velirmu Be'asara, let 10 people go out v'nafka l'shuka with such tzitzis u'mefirsim alamilsa. So the Gemara says that'll backfire. Kol shechein de mitama elvan. We're afraid that people will then think, oh, you see, we made a mistake. You could have wool and linen together in general. Says the Gemara, so then v'lidra shabeperka. So then explain it in the shir that it's only an exception for tzitzis because of the drasha of smuchen. Says the Gemara, gezeira mishum kala ilan. Kala ilan is a blue dye made out of a plant. It's called indigo. And we're afraid that somebody might use wool with the blue dye of indigo, and it will then not be kosher tchelas, and then it would be shatnez. Says the Gemara, but it won't be shatnez, it just won't be tchelas. But it still is. Remember, if we don't have tchelas, we could put four white tzitzis. So even if it's not the proper chalazon dye from the chalazon snail, but it still will be good as white, and it still would be kosher tzitzis. V'lo yehei ala lavan. Says the Gemara, yeah, but if you're not yaitzi the mitzvah of tchelis, then you don't need wool. And to do it with wool, even if it's only going to be like white, then we don't say asay doichaloi saseh. We only say asay doichaloi saseh if you fulfill the mitzvah of tchelis. Kevin the efsher b'minan, since you could do white with linen and you don't need wool, loy, it doesn't supersede the lav of shatnez. K'drei shlakish, namarei shlakish, kol makom shata moitzi asay v'loi saseh. Wherever you have an asay and a lois asay, im ati yochel l'kayim eshneim, if you could fulfill them both, like over here. If you're only fulfilling the mitzvah of white, you can make it linen. Muta, v'im lav, but if you can't, it's tchelis has to be wool. So the only way you could do it is with wool, then yavay asay v'yitches lois asay. Says the Gemara v'liv dekua. What's the problem? Check if it's kala ilan or if it's regular tchelis. We're afraid that they might use, when they did the tchelis, they first put it on fringes to test it, if it was the right amount of dye, and those samples could find their way into the tzitzis, and they wouldn't be good because that they weren't made l'shem mitzvah tzitzis. Says the Gemara, v'lichtevei adiskei, make proclamations and let people know that you can't use the testers. And I would send out kol koires. Says the Gemara, adiskei leikim v'lismach. Can we rely on kol koires? Amar Rava, so Rava says, well, we rely on it when we make an extra order. When we make an extra order, we send out letters to everybody that they should know when Pesach will be and when Yom Kippur will be. Amar Rava Hashka, we rely on sending out notes. Chametz b'Pesach v'Yom HaKippurim dekaris, which is an Issachkaris. Samchinan adiskei hacha da'asei ba'alma, letting people know that you can't use the sample, which is only an asay, loy kol shechein. Ela Amar Rava ha milsa amrei. This was said. V'itma b'marava, and it was said in the west. Mishum de Rebbe Zeira Kavasi. We're afraid Shema yikara sadinoi b'soich gimel. What we're afraid of is that maybe his garment will tear within 3 finger breadths of the garment. And it will have, and v'yitfarenu, he'll sew it, and the thread that he sews it with, he'll leave hanging towards the bottom to be used as one of the fringes. And that's no good, because that was initially put on the beged, not for tzitzis, but for the garment. You have to make it afterwards, and not something that was already there. And then if you have tchelas, it would be shatnez. So Shara Rabbi Zeira l'Sidine. Rabbi Zeira removed his tchelas from his linen garment because of this concern. Rabbi Zeira Amar Gezeira Mishum Ksus Laila. We're afraid, it says a Re'isa Maisai Prat L'Ksus Laila, that you can't put tzitzis on night garments, like on pajamas, and because you can't see it in the night. And we're afraid that it might have a linen night garment and put on tchelas, which would be shatnez. B'amar Rava, ha milsa amrei, the following was said, v'itma b'marava mishmei de Rebbe Zeira kavasi. And it was said in the West, in the name of Rebbe Zeira, like me. He shall beged uknofer shel ar. This is a cool tzitzis. The tzitzis is beged, but the corners were leather. Chayeves. Because Rava holds that it's leather is not chayev in tzitzis. But he holds we don't go bust at the corner, we go bust at the beged. However, he shall ar, if the beged is leather, uknofer shel beged, the corner is a beged, petura. My timer, what's the reason? Iker beged ba'inan. Rava and Reb Zeira hold that you go bust the material of the beged. Of course, there's a differing opinion. Rav Achoya azal basar kanaf. So he says if the kanaf is leather, it's potter. If the kanaf is beged, it's chayiv. Now, Amar Rava, Amar Rav Schaira, Amar Rav Huna. Hey to lebalas shalosh. If it was a 3-cornered garment, and you put on tzitzis, and then after that vishlima la'arba, then you made it into a 4-cornered garment, psula. Why? Because when you put it on the 3, it didn't have a chiyuv yet, so it's tasa, it was already done, v'loy mina osui, and not made special after it was already chayiv. They say, Chasidim Arishonim, the early ancients, Kavan she'arga b'shalosh, once they wove 3 finger breadths, hayametilun latchelas, they put on it tzitzis. So here they made it, as soon as they wove 3 finger breadths, it wasn't a beged yet. So how could that be good? Says the Gemara, no. Ema came in shepatzu b'shalish. When they were finishing the beged, once they got to a third to the bottom, 3 finger breadths to the bottom, so it was already chayiv, then matin l'tchelis. They put on the tzitzis because there's reason makdim l'mitzvahs. Says the Gemara, Umi amrinon ta'aseh v'lo min ha'asi. Do we say that you should make it and not from that which is already made? V'amar Rabbi Zeira heitil l'muteles ksheris. Let's say you have old tzitzis on your garment, and you put new ones there, and then you remove the old ones, it's good. Now, why? When you put the new ones, they weren't good yet, because you already had tzitzis. And then when you remove the old ones, that's ta'aseh v'lo min ha'asi. Says Gemara, no. Because when you put the new ones there, you're over with Baal Taisif. It's definitely not considered a Maisa until you remove the old ones. Says the Gemara, he didn't mean to add it. He wanted to negate the older ones. It's not Baal Taisif, but Maisa Ika. It is a Maisa. So, the Maisa is, there are those that hold that it's good. Why? Because the Psil of Ta'aseh v'lo min ha'asi is only when you put it on, it was no good. A 3-cornered garment. But when you put it on, it was unnecessary. That doesn't passel it, perhaps, as Ta'aseh v'lo min ha'asi. Okay, we're going to stop over here now, Rabbi Isai. So we're set up now to learn Mem Aleph and Mem Beis for Shabbos. Motzei Shabbos Shir is 8:15. And we're now going to do the segment called...
Motzei Shabbos 8:30.
Oh, it's 8:30?
Yeah.
Oh, Motzei Shabbos 8:30. Motzei Shabbos 8:30, Rabbi Yisrael. Motzei Shabbos 8.
But it's only one block, right?
No, 2 blocks. We did this to get ahead. So. We did.
Sorry, explain. I'm missing something.
We did this to get ahead, so that on one of my travel days, maybe I don't have to say a daf. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful show.
Okay, now we're going to do now the segment for the Shabbos table.